Yeah.
As soon as you hit it, ingqondo iyajama. Sawubona. Welcome to Crossing the T's with Thembinkosi and Themba Jay. I'm Themba Jay, and we're going to be having conversations about different things, about life, context. We met 12 years ago in college, and as soon as we started talking, we talked a lot because Besenza radio broadcasting. So 12 years later, we thought, you know what, let's record the conversations and share our minds.
Pretty much, yeah. That sums it up. So this would serve as the first episode.
This is the...
of Crossing the T's.
Joe, I love the name. So, what's on your mind, Joe? What's been on your mind?
What's on my mind? I mean, the year's drawing to a close. And you know how every time, like at this time, I either look back at the things that I said I was going to do throughout the year and what I want to do next year. I start planning for the following year now, like in November. So yeah, that's heavy on my mind right now, especially with the type of content that I'm creating now, like animated content, voice, because we've always done like voiceovers, but now I'm trying to add an element of animation and video to my work, because now that's how people share information. I mean, you look at TikTok, you look at the new features that Instagram has added, what Facebook looks like now. Well, it's pretty much dead, but they're adding more. There's more video content on Facebook now. So that's where our industry or content creators are moving to now, creating more video content.
And so you are taking your skill and aligning that with how the world is consuming content.
Yes, pretty much, yes. Sure. And this is also another reason why we're doing this podcast. Because
it fits perfectly, actually.
Yeah, because I have been producing podcasts since 2013.
Sure.
Even though I stopped for a while and then we started again But initially podcasts were never videos, right? It was
just audio.
It was like a recorded version of what radio is.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So, yeah, just adding more video content to my work.
And speaking of video, I think this is good, being able to look at the camera like this after a long time. And I've been saying, like, you're good for me in a sense, Yoguti, you've pulled me back into recording videos again. Mm-hmm. I was a natural at some point because I always took my phone and then vlogged about anything. I mean, I could be running, and then after I run, open up my phone, this is what's on my mind, and then I got rusty. So now it's a bit weird in a good way. I'm getting stretched. This is it. I mean, the fact that you're making eye contact, you're making the screen and the camera lens your friend. So shout outs to Crossing the T's with Thembinkosi and Themba Jay. I'm getting back to who I am. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and even at the time, you spoke a lot about, doing like content. Hey, let's do video. For me, I have always wanted to create content, and I have been creating content, but not video content, especially content that involves me being in front of the camera.
You've always been
behind the scenes.
Doing it for clients.
Hence radio, hence voiceovers. Yes. Nobody sees me.
Sure.
I don't know if it's a confidence thing, but I know I didn't want to be seen. And watching back videos of myself has always been weird. Even editing my voice now, having to record voiceovers in my studios at home and then sending it out. Now, it's normal. It's a normal thing. But in the beginning...
so sorry for that.
It wasn't.
How did it feel recording and then listening back and editing it? Try and find the words and tell me how did that feel? Because for instance, I felt I needed to be perfect. The first time I started vlogging,
that's true.
You would overthink, and if you overthink,
said this wrong. I should have said it this way, or maybe the way you speak. I mean, sometimes I know what I used to do was like I'd swallow my words sometimes. So you don't pronounce a word fully. At some point, like towards the end, you know what I mean?
Sort of tense up.
Yeah, you tense up. And it's not that that's how you speak, because during normal conversations,
You flow.
it's fine.
You
You
flow.
flow.
Yeah.
But when you're recording, you're conscious of the microphone being on and the camera being on.
And here's the thing, you're thinking about the person that's not even watching this yet.
Yeah,
What
how
will
are they
they
going
think
to
of
perceive
me?
this? What
This
are they
is
going to
it.
say? Which is something that
And
it's out the
overthinking,
window
sure.
now. We're older, and I think we're at a point where you really don't care.
How you
that
come
don't-
across.
Yeah, not that you don't care, but you've developed a new level of confidence in self,
Comfortability in your own skin.
and you're comfortable.
Sure.
You're very comfortable. This is who I am. What the next person says. I think also it comes with, like I said, age, but with knowing that what we have always thought is important is not that important. That's what age does. Like you realize, oh yeah, what I thought was important at 25 or 20, it's not important now at 31.
Yeah,
it's
sure.
not. It's not. So you look at what's important and you're like, wow, that's taken care of. That's cool. You know, we're in good health, we're okay, we're in good shape, we work out.
Healthy minds.
From time
sure.
to time.
Sure.
Well, in my case, from time to time, you work out all the time. And then like your, healthy mind, there's progress in your life. Yes, you're not where you want to be, but a lot of things are working out for you, in your favor, I should say. You know what I mean? Like a lot of things are working out in your favor, and you're in a much better place than you were. We sometimes forget where we used to be and where we are now.
And that's the thing for me, Uguti, this weekend, we've been speaking about that quite a lot, Uguti. In life, and this is what I always say, this Uguti, impilo umgodo ungagcwali.
Yeah.
Right? You get something. Let's say, for instance, you don't have a computer. We work on your phone. We use papers to record your thoughts. And then you get a computer. You get used to it. And then it's like, whatever. I need something else. You always need something else. And you forget the stuff that you've got that you didn't have. And that's what I'm conscious about now. And I'm at a better place mentally, emotionally, and spiritually exactly because of that. I am comfortable today. I am okay today.
Yeah.
Anything else that comes, it'll come. And it'll come because I believe in myself.
Yeah.
But manje ngigrand ukuthi yazini, don't chase persistently. At some point, relax and enjoy who you've become. Because 10 years ago when we first met in college, we were not this well spoken. We were not
Yeah. Lots of stories behind that, but okay.
But overthinking things.
Yeah.
No, I can confidently say, I'm confident in my abilities. And people have always been confident in my abilities before I was. That's the thing for me. And speaking of which, you helped me start a blog. Because of that, I was hesitant and you pushed me into the pool. Baba, you can write well. Why are you doubting yourself? As a result of that, many years later, I'm a freelance writer and I'm running a freelance business. Because of that, and I didn't go to a school for people to teach me writing. I've learned in public the whole concept of build in public and iterate, and it needs guts.
Yeah.
The internet world allows you to start a YouTube channel, just like we're doing now. This is learning in public, because a year from now, you look at this first episode, look at the 100th episode, and there'll be a huge gap.
Yeah, huge gap.
This is it, young
A
Todd.
huge change, not just, maybe equipment-wise or, where we are recording from, but just with how you speak. Maybe we'll add guests as we go. It's fluid. We'll check what
Can't wait for
works,
guests.
and we'll go with that.
So with it, I think, with next year, right, 2023,
Yeah.
because for me, I want to do at the back of this.
Yeah.
I want to do more public speaking gigs, right?
Public speaking.
Yeah,
Okay.
young tall, do more public speaking gigs because this year I did more writing than public speaking.
Right.
Like the basis of my business as we speak is writing. I'm behind.
Go back. You said the basis.
At the moment, like the foundation of my freelance business is writing. So I want to get more in front of people and speak more. And I'd like to get to a point where I can sort of balance writing
With
and
public
speaking. Yes.
So this year, what have you done more of?
Writing.
What have you done more of between public speaking and writing this year?
It's writing. So I'm behind the scenes. That's why I feel rusty in front of the camera because I've not even been vlogging. So this is good. Like being in front of the camera like this is a kick in the butt that I need to get out of my head, as it were.
And when you compare this year to last year in terms of speaking gigs versus writing gigs, was it 50-50? Was it
not even close. So
still more writing than
more writing?
Okay.
Yeah, since I've started freelancing 3.5 years ago. Actually, at the end of this year, it'll be 4 years because I remember quit my previous job at the end of 2018.
Yeah.
And then started freelancing for the past 4 years. What's been leading is being behind the scenes and writing words for other people. But now, and thanks to this again, Uguti, it's pushing me out to Uguti. Go into the world. You can speak. You can enunciate things. Young Tal.
I mean, with getting the casino gig this year,
Game changer.
that was a game changer for because you have to speak. You have no choice.
Yeah, sure.
They tell you show up at 12, leave at 6.
And there's
then
customers
we have,
that are watching
we have
you,
customers. There's a prize giveaway at 1, whether you're ready or not, from 12 to 6.
Ready, Anna.
Do you understand?
Sure.
Top of every hour, prize giveaway. You have to be on stage, MC, have your suit on. And I think that has built the confidence. And you have people that will come up to you and say, you speak so well. Every time. I think that also helps.
Yeah. Oh,
but
yes.
self-motivation is the best form of motivation, of course. Like I said, Uguti, right now, knowing that the things you thought were important are not so important. Like you would rather, you would rather be a good person, a good friend, a reliable partner, brother, son. That's more important than being well spoken.
Well, he's just talking about himself now.
Yeah, as if you are not all of that as well.
He's an amazing friend.
Yeah, no, but
sure.
these are things that we talk about all the time, whether we're driving or we're just sitting or eating. These are things that we talk about like just being there for your family, and
Joe,
we hold each other accountable for those things. Right? You have to be there for your family, and you know what I mean. You hold me accountable, I hold you accountable. We talk about it all the time. And if I need to support you on certain things, I'm there for you, vice versa. So, yeah, you understand that's more important than anything else. Because when everything else goes out the window, hey, man, your friends, well, not all of your friends, but some of your friends and your family is all you have.
Yeah, sure.
That's it.
The support system.
Exactly. So you take care of those people before you take care of anything else. And that's the most important thing. So
it reinforces this thing you've just said, Wuti. The foundation, man, like at 31, where we are now, what's important now is taking care of people that take care of you. And building a strong community, because you can. I don't care how talented you are, how moneyed you are. There's gonna be times where life just
happens.
slaps you upside the face, and you'll need somebody to talk to you and reinvigorate your confidence. And this is exactly what, and like just moments ago, that you gave me confidence when I didn't have it. Go publish your work online and people like it. Fast forward 8 years later, I'm a freelance writer, proper. I'm a professional writer now.
You are
Young
eating
Tan,
from it.
This is it.
Exactly.
And I don't think the freelancing would have happened if I didn't start the blog.
No, it wouldn't have happened.
I'm up blogs. This
Yeah.
has to happen so that this happens. It's progression.
Yeah, like freelancing. Also, for me, with you starting, so you say I helped you
Ah, man. I
get
see where
into
you're going. What's
I'm a
up,
blog,
man?
right?
Yes, sir.
Then you then phone me one day and you tell me you've quit your job.
Sure. Out of the bloom, Chimbari, what's that?
Hey, this guy, he just quit job agency. At the time, he's traveling South Africa. Like, he's in a plane every 3 days. Like,
Yeah, sure.
say out of 7 days in a week, he's away for 4 or 5
sure.
days. He's in Cape Town for 4 days.
Joe.
Then he's back home for like 3 days. Then he's in Durban. Then he's in Mpumalanga. He's video calling me from a remote area somewhere, Eastern Cape, and he's showing me huts and things.
Sure.
Yeah, bona, like it's a great life. You're in hotels, in and out of hotels. You're jumping on planes. Yeah, bona, like doesn't sound like much to a lot of people, but
Sure.
when you have never imagined that happening, it's big for you. And success is relative, right? Like
yeah,
it's-
sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure
Like,
case.
to us, that's success. To somebody just having a job, regardless of what job it is, that's success.
Or how much money you get some income. Get success here
It's
because
success.
your family can eat.
It's relative.
Sure, point.
You know what I mean? Then you call me and you're like, yo, I'm leaving this job. I'm like, which job? I'm like, this guy, this was like the second job you've quit. I think.
Yes.
This was the second
It
time
was. Spot
you
on.
called me and said, I quit.
Nkalenge retail, yeah.
No, it was retail.
Yeah.
Wasn't there another company in between?
Oh, there was, yeah.
Yes.
Agency still.
Okay, so
advertising
three.
agency.
So three. 3 jobs.
Sure.
One, I understand why you quit retail.
Sure.
I was happy when you quit retail.
Yeah.
These 2 jobs did not make sense.
Sure,
but
point.
I respected your decision.
And I appreciate that to this
And
day.
I said, okay, cool. You let me know if you need anything. I've got you. Cool. So you quit. And then you freelance for a year. And then in halfway through the second year, we start having conversations about what's it like to just live off writing and being at home and not knowing which okay 25 yangena and that kind of thing, because I was also equally frustrated with where I was. I'd been there for 7 years, working in the newsroom, reporting, working. Yeah, it's a national newspaper. Yes, it's great. You know what I mean? No perks or perks here and there.
Yeah.
But man, I wasn't there anymore. Like I just wanted to leave, and part of the reason you leave a job, well, I left, was doing the same thing all the time. You know what I mean?
Creativity plummets.
And knowing how creative you can be. Like right now we're doing video. When we started, we spoke about video content and your job ties you to one thing. We're creatives. Like your job ties you to, you write. That's what you're doing. You're writing. Write these words. Send information out using these words. That's it. We want to do video. We want to do this. Even if you go to your boss's line manager, yo, this is where the world is moving. This is the direction the world is moving in. This is what we need to do. They might say, yes, great idea, but will it be implemented? Half the time, no. Or 9 out of 10 times it wasn't.
Because a lot of companies and departments are not in the business of experimenting.
Yeah.
If it works, it works. And
What
it
makes
gives us
money?
profit.
This. Sharp.
Sure.
Let's go. Yeah. And then you and I then start talking about, freelancing.
Sure.
A year and a half into you freelancing.
Yeah.
Then I then go and ponder on this thing, think about it, go over it for a few months, and then I just resign. Don't tell anybody, don't say anything, just resign.
You took me by surprise just this much.
Boom, just resign, relax. 10 days into serving notice.
Marasheba.
We're halfway through the month. okay, no one knows yet. Okay, I'll think Jelaban. Yeah, because you have to speak at some point. You have to tell about it because now what's it down? Man, just span now. Say spanning.
Not experiment with 10 days like I just watch it.
I think Jelaban. You're like,
sure.
this is what's happening, and everyone was like, oh, okay, ish, all right. Mom was extremely supportive because she knew the challenges I had, and she
Love her.
She
Love
knows.
her.
She knows. She knows.
She's amazing.
And she knows how far my talents stretch and what I could, you know what I mean? She knows. So she was like, she's always felt like that job was taking away from me. You know what I mean? Like, no, I'm not fully, I don't express myself fully at the job. I can't show all my talents or use all of my talents.
And here's the thing about using, right, before you go on.
Yeah.
Use it or lose it.
Yeah, and
understood
it
that.
holds, yes.
Macriza
Like the more you do
understood
something, the better you are at it. Like
Sure.
we all know this. So she knew, she was very supportive. Ufigile, like my girlfriend was very supportive of it. My aunts, everybody was fine.
Sure.
Pretty much shocked, moved,
Yeah.
shaken a bit.
Yes.
Like, hey, yeah. But they were fine. Like, more jive. I just appreciated that level of support. You know what I mean? Like
Sure.
my cousin, I'm a cheater. Everybody's good. So then you go into this thing. You don't know what it is. You do it for a month. Nothing happens. Second month, okay. I mean, you still have a bit of money, so you're not panicking too much. But now it's been 2 months.
Yeah, I was about to say with the earring panic.
Yeah, but so I panicky corner.
Yeah.
But I also know that when you panic in situations, you won't even see a way out.
You could miss an opportunity right in front of you because your
understand?
mind is not in figuring out things mode. It's on you're defensive.
Bro, like
defensive.
when you're relaxed, you find a door in a room when there's no door. Where there's absolutely no door, you'll find it.
Roof, man.
Yeah. Because you're relaxed. So just, you know what I mean? Like I didn't panic. I knew, like even quitting, I was like, whatever happens, don't panic. You know what I mean? And we've talked about ilento, like stress and how to deal with stress and how jogging helps with that. We jog, we listen to hip hop, and then there's obviously lento, like we listen to the lyrics, you pick up some things, wordplay. I mean, you're a wordsmith yourself, so you appreciate the artistry.
Yeah, sure.
So yeah, and that helps you relax, watch a lot of content. And Nakon, I think walking the road with somebody, like us holding hands and walking together, like me outing now, yo, here's a project. This is how you can eat off of this project that I've got.
Sure.
This is how you can eat. Okay, now where you bring yours, you know what I mean? That's cool. Like that's a brotherhood that doesn't exist.
You don't meet such people often.
Yeah, like especially abantu that you're not even related to by blood. You don't get that a lot. It's rare where you find a relationship efana niyami and Ukatlewe and Pugiswe where you're like you're brothers but you're friends too.
At the same time,
you know what
sure.
I mean? Yeah, it's very rare where you find that. So and then having like umchito fana nawe, just us walking this road together. Nay, here's what I'm doing. I was in this meeting with these people. This is what they want now. So video, we need to start producing more video content. Let's build. We're working on demand. We're like, okay, what's on demand? Engati video on demand.
Let's learn. Video.
YouTube tutorials,
Yeah, sure.
The right software, put it on the max, we spend a weekend, we edit video, we practice, okay, great, sharp, we've got it. Nailente portfolio, we send it out, we write emails, we send it out. Then we start getting work. Masbonut, okay, audio is in demand, this is in demand, you know what I mean? We go to where there's
Where opportunity
yeah,
is,
where opportunity is. We
Yeah,
go where
sure.
there's opportunity. Where there's opportunity, that's where we go. So, and in a work environment,
You can't have that.
you can't have that.
Yeah.
You don't go where opportunity goes. And I'm not, and again, people shouldn't get from this conversation, people should not get lento uti or where, you know, like, ooh, because a lot of people do that, like, ooh, why do you have a 9 to 5, a 9 to, bro, making an honest living is everything. Having
However
money,
you make it, yeah.
like
Ukuthi
having
spanner
money,
va.
having money, waking up whether you wake up in the morning, you have your spanner. There's nothing wrong with having a job.
span,
I
bro.
champion having a job,
Sure.
because through having a job, we realized that we need to start our own thing. We realized that some of these companies that we work for, especially in content creation, they don't have their fingers on the pulse of the world, right? So they're not moving with the times.
Because again, I mean, like if you're moving with the times too much, you run the risk of ukuphazamisa your income stream. And business is not, again, you can't go to your line manager and say, you know, I think I like video now. You like video? What do you mean you like video? We
This is
hired you to
making
do
us
this.
money now.
This is it.
So
It's a
stick
stable
to it.
income.
Exactly.
Right? So you're not looking 5 years from now. We are eating today on this. But with freelancing and what we're doing now, starting a podcast,
Yeah.
again, like it's in a year from now, we'll be having a different, richer conversation about this. You
But
understand?
they have the privilege of, if things change 5 years from now, they can just hire somebody with the skills.
They've got the resources.
Yeah, they've got the
pivot.
resources to do that. So, like I said, Mina, that's the biggest thing. Uji. Most of these companies are they're not in touch with what's happening in the world. Like, you go onto certain websites now, like news agencies, where they give you video, they give you the articles in written format, they give you videos, and then you can click a button and listen to the article. You don't even have to read it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. One of my
I
clients
can't
does
think
this.
of
Sure.
I can think of maybe one or two news agencies in South Africa that have that function. Radio stations are only catching on to podcasts now. I was producing podcasts in 2013, listening. I know of radio stations in the USA through those radio stations having podcasts and taking this content, putting it on podcast channels. That's how I know.
Repurposing bloody content,
There's
bro.
a guy in the USA who used to do a radio show on Saturdays.
Yeah.
Benglaleli podcast of that show.
Sure.
Do you understand? Same thing with the guy in the UK. No, but all over the world, right? It's simple. Just chop up pieces of the show that you have Monday to Friday. If you're lazy, just chop that up, turn it into a podcast, boom, put it out.
And the podcast will grow at the back of that.
It will grow at the back of that.
Sure.
And I think a lot of agencies realizing now that there's money in these things. Like everybody has a YouTube channel now.
Thank you.
And the decisions are mostly driven by money and where the money's gonna come from. Like an income. Okay, in your wing let's go.
Let's jump into it.
But it's no one's actively looking at what's coming. Right? 5 years from now.
Only when it's here, we
only
react.
when it's here do we react.
Yeah.
And which is why I think Sisemuva partly, like, you know, where we are. And maybe that's also why when we go into these rooms, we don't really get the type of responses. Yeah, because we're shifting brands and trying to move them from the
Comfort
spaces.
And we know what happens with comfortability.
Yeah.
You can't just yank somebody out, they'll fight you.
Yeah.
Because I'm comfortable with this.
Yeah, so I think that's what happens. But yeah, I mean, industry, that's the industry. But yeah, I think we've helped each other go from like you said, I got you into blogging.
Bro.
I helped you start a blog.
Bro.
You got me out of
Eish.
a 9 to 5 and
Yeah.
just freelancing. You know what I mean? And now we're just walking. Okay, now let's hold hands. Let's see where this takes us. And then let's help each other along the way. You bring your gigs, I bring my gigs. We figure it out. We make a bit of money here and there. And we move.
And speaking of holding hands, right? When I add this, it would be unethical and criminal and all sorts of bad things if I didn't. Context.
Sure.
Like I said, 12 years ago, we meet in college. And I don't finish the course.
Yeah.
You go on and graduate. Radio... Media studies majoring in radio production and broadcasting, right?
Yes.
That's the diploma. I didn't get that. Financial constraints came up, had to go and work in retail. Spanagu retail, Intwana Yami goes, and now you are in a marketing agency. And you're meeting people that we used to read about in magazines, watch on TV. You have coffee with them in the office now. What I liked is you came through came through. I remember the time figure net device that they had given you to review. And then like petty writing lane. And I start playing with this thing. You're like, petty writing. And then you started teaching me about the Android platform, Jelly Bean, and all of these different. I didn't even know what it's got these different editions, right? So you coming back made us have conversations that have now led us to have crossing the T's with Thembinkosi and Themba Jay. It's poetic even. I'm getting goosebumps even saying this, right? And I'm happy with the thing, it's persisted. Even now, there's consistency in that. And it happens in both ways. You come through, still share what happens in the office. So I'm working in retail, but I know at the back of my mind, that's why it's easy to convince with blog. I didn't even fight it. I started the blog.
Because of the conversations
this
that
is
we've
it.
been having,
Yeah. I mean, like, you are in the media industry, and so you're saying, start a blog. You were managing a website for one of the clients at the time, and then you're also cutting and editing podcast material, and you're managing the podcast behind the scenes. So when you say it, I'm like, he's working with it. Why not follow? I did. So Hepuguti, years later, when I quit my job and started freelancing, and when you looked at me like, he's making it happen. He's making do. He's alive. You follow.
Let me join.
Now we're freelancing full time. So I like this yin and yang type of energy that we've got. And if a lot of people had that, we'd go farther. Because you can't do this thing alone. It also comes full circle to what we spoke about a bit earlier on, that like however intelligent or tough you are, you can never do this life thing alone. Like iron sharpens iron.
And for me, another thing was the conversation that always pops up is manjimali. There's always the money conversation, especially when you tell people, when you speak to the people around you, your family and your friends, close friends. Don't have to talk to everybody. There's always the conversation about money. Manjimali. What are you going to do with the money? How are you going to make money? Because it's always about sustenance. Can you take care of yourself? Can you? You know what I mean? It's always about, can you take care of yourself? Where's the money going to come from? Can you do this? Can you still take care of whatever it is that you were taking care of? You know what I mean? It's not as easy as, like, listening to us now. You might think, it's easy.
Bed of roses, let me quit my job. Don't.
No. Have a plan, like a solid plan. And one thing that you realize when you're on the other side of, when you're now freelancing away from the 9 to 5 and you're no longer in the 9 to 5, you also realize, no one gets rich off of like having a job.
True.
There is nobody in this world who is rich because they have a 9 to 5, because they go to the office from 9 o'clock to 5, and then this person is rich. Unless if you are some CEO of some company, and then you're earning.
You need to play at a C-suite level.
Exactly. And that's like what? 1% or 0.5% of the population. And not everybody's
it'll
a CEO.
take you a long time to get there, yeah?
You understand? There's And Nakona, how many companies are profitable to a level where you can make 2.5 million a month or 1.5 million a month or 900,000 or 500,000 a month? How many companies are that profitable? Not all of them.
If I'm profitable too as a business, I'm trying to keep costs down.
Exactly.
A salary is a cost to the business.
Even though
Right?
the person being paid a salary helps the business make their money.
Sure.
Yeah. But it costs, Joe. They have to think about it. So, you just realize nobody becomes rich off of having a job. No one. That's the first thing. The second thing, you also just realize that, you know what? Imali is there to take care of certain things, to just facilitate entities in your life. But it's not everything. And if you can make a bit of it,
eat.
If you can make enough to eat,
Sure.
and then take care of the things that you have to take care of,
I think you're off to a good start.
you have to a good start. If you can pay for your bills without relying on your salary, or if you can, in fact, you know what? Let me say it like this.
Please.
Here's what's important.
Please.
You need healthcare is everything, right? That's
Foundation.
The first thing. Healthcare. You need to be good, healthy. If you're sick, you can't work. Freelance or 9 to 5, you can't work if you're sick. Then you need food, of course.
Sure.
You need all the other things, really. Like
It's noise.
it's just noise. It's add-ons. Let's be honest.
Yeah, sure.
You know what I mean? It's all noise. The rest of it is noise, really, if we're being honest. It's just noise. So
And we get tricked by it though, easily. And then you chase this thing as if it's the be all and end all of your life.
But really, like most of it, it's noise, guys. It's just noise. Kakulu. But yeah, healthcare, food, and then of course there's debt now. If you've also like accumulated debt, patali moto, patala log, but a car is convenient too.
It's a tool, sure.
Exactly, it gets you to these gigs. I mean, there are gigs that we've lost out on gigs because of
Mchana, sure.
Can you come and our proximity to Joburg? I mean, Seval. We're like 45 minutes away at least.
Yeah.
When you drive there, usually like 45 or 50 minutes. When we were using taxis before it runs, yes,
it was an uphill battle.
An hour or so, and you spend most of the time not even in traffic, but waiting for the taxi. Then you wait for the second taxi.
Unokufika mina ngikhumbula ufika taxi rank ujahile ama-taxi akhona mawuthi ku-empty hawu bazali kwenze njani athi ibhodi lifikile la waqoqa wonke kusele la wasemgangathweni ayi-5 kumele manje if ngise-orange farm
you have to wait
ku-circulate ama-taxi ayi-5 lawa amanye it's either bawathathile ibhodi or azifihlile ngiyangithola kusebenza lawa ayi-10.
Meanwhile, you have a meeting somewhere. You have an interview or a meeting. You have to go see a client. You have to. So I think people who live outside of Joburg, and not even intentionally, but they have given all of us such a bad name at these companies that they think twice before they hire you. If you don't have reliable transport, like you go into Biz Community.
Sure.
You go to Biz Community, you go to Career 24, any site where companies post job ads.
LinkedIn jobs,
Bro, I tell you, somewhere it says own transport and it specifies with you need to have your own transport so a car, again, car is important, guys. Car is everything. But healthcare, food, a place to stay, shelter is everything too. We've also, we're fortunate.
Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Yeah.
Now we are redesigning this thing.
Yeah, we're fortunate to have like family homes and where we can live and you don't have to worry about rent. That also helped in
us being able to freelance.
Just quit and go freelance.
Sure.
But at some, 31, you need to get your own place.
Yeah,
but
sure.
it will come, and you're you say certain things with confidence because with a great deal of conviction, because you know that you are in the right place.
Sure.
We're playing in the right space.
It feels
you
right.
look to your left.
It feels right.
You look to your left, there's voiceover artists who are making a killing, who are good.
Sure.
You look to your right, there's videographers, there's people doing animation work, and they're making good money. You know the value of the work that you can create.
Sure.
You know the value of it. But the issue is just getting the right people now to buy into the idea. But you know the value of the work that you create.
In business and society.
In business and society, you know the value of the work that you create.
I'm so happy that I am at a point where I know that words will never run out. My dad used to, this is it. My dad used to preach this. And for a little context, umadala beka rana business ya matayera.
Yeah.
Izinja bafethu. So ungamla urani business ya
Still perfect.
sharp.
No, we'll pick up from
Where we left off.
Let me give you context about e-time. Oh shit, 8%.
Say wrap up.
8%.
Sharp. Let's be cognizant of that.
Okay, sharp.
So,
Ring timer.
Yeah. Context. Umadala run a tire repair and sales business, and that's where I grew up. Weekends I'm there. School holidays without negotiation I'm there, and I learnt a lot. And umadala used to say, ungacaba ukuthi ngiyak abuse njengoba ngikuletha la. Ufuna ukuyodlala ibhola namajita nya understand. Umntwana ufuna ukugijima estradini. But ngukufundisa trade, like with exactly that conviction, ngukufundisa trade, you know?
Yeah.
Athi imoto ziyophela nini mngani wami?
Angeke ziphe.
Imoto mayigijima uneplate.
Yeah.
Imoto mayigijima
as long as there's
uneplate.
cars on the road, okay.
Yangithola? Same thing with words. I mean, people will communicate for a long time. Stories are the bedrock of humanity.
Yes.
From when people lived in caves. Art. So I know ukuthi writing will live for a long time. You understand?
You know, abo like amatime and nabo mkhulu nabo gogo.
Sure, boy.
Most of them didn't get a formal education, but they were so advanced in their thinking. You know what I mean? They had foresight. For me, like magati trade. The word trade triggers something. It triggers like in our generation, power tools are like power tools are what do you call? Are they called ornaments? Lezinja, lezama, izqhoboka, lezabogogo. Those are called ornaments, right there.
Sure.
Power tools are ornaments to people of our generation, and also nobody has a trade. Asazi ukusebenza ngezandla. We have theory, like we know how to read, we know how to write, and even reading and writing, how well we can read and write is questionable. Like we can question it. You know,
education system, different conversation for a different podcast,
different conversation.
Sure.
So, asina trade to bning to and most of like abantwana, the things that they were able to teach us. If you look at those things now, or you just look back at what your dad was good at, what he could do,
multiple things,
and he could eat off of those things.
Sure.
When you look at where we are now, those guys were freelancers. That's what they were.
It was poetic when it dawned on me ukuthi umadala bekuyi freelancer forever.
They were freelancers.
Sure.
That's
so
what they did.
It gives you lento ukuthi hayi mana awuhlanyi. Like somebody before you walked this thing.
Yeah.
It wasn't called what we are calling it.
There's just these formal labels that we have on things that are not reflective of what those things truly are. You know what I mean?
And the weight they have on society.
Yeah, because and like one of the biggest things that we were cheated of as kids.
Sure.
Like kids from the 90s.
Yeah.
Like 90s kids. One of the things that we were that was taken from us was we were made to, or things that, okay, we were made to believe. Okay, let me start over. As kids from the 90s, right, we were made to believe that having a formal education is the best thing that can ever happen to you. And it's not. At 31, I can tell you it's not.
Kumbula le line le. This line was just baked into our psyche. Education is the key to success. That's copywriting. No, yeah. Copyright. Yeah. But hey.
Here's another one.
Sure.
So you would be at your house, right? Weekends, holidays, whatever. Itaima or Mkulu hires somebody to come to the house to fix the tap or whatever that needed fixing around the house. One of the things that this person would say to you is, what do you want to be when you grow up? What grade are you in? They'd get your name from your parents. They would ask you what grade you are in. I'm in grade 3, grade 4, sharp. What do you want to do when you grow up? Then they would sum up that interaction with, don't be like me. I'm uneducated. That's why I am a plumber. Don't be like me. I'm uneducated. That's why I come to your house to fix the broken or, whatever's broken. But those people own their time. They made money.
So they were like,
yes, you're downplaying
freelance
exactly,
and the potential to make cash. And
I am going back to
having client base.
I am going back to Indaba Yoguti. The most important things in life are your ability to put food on the table, healthcare, and then a shelter.
Amen.
How you make money to provide those things is irrelevant. You wake up, you go to an office to have the money to take care of those things.
Bro.
Or you wake up and you go to someone's house and you cut their grass. At the end of the day, at the end of the day, healthcare,
sure,
A-OK. Food, A-OK. Shelter, A-OK. Whether you're paying rent or you're paying for a house, oksalayo unala ulala kona. You have a place. You have a home. You have a home. You have this food in that home of yours. If you're sick, you go somewhere or you can pay. That's all. So those conversations of like people coming to the house and helping and fixing things
and downplaying their hustle,
and then being told, "Uguti no, ungafani nami ngoba I'm uneducated." This. Like I look back at those conversations now, as with where I am now, and also kulile, you know what I mean? With a more like I'm more mature now than I was then. You don't know at that point. You're learning from everybody around you.
Yeah, sure.
You know what I mean? You were told ukuthi everyone umzalo wako, and you know what I mean? That's what it is. So yalalela. But now you're like, yo, that was BS, man.
You have now the intelligence and the confidence. And like speaking of self-confidence, when somebody like disparages their hustle, you realize there was a glaring lack of self-confidence there. Because for me, I'm a writer, sure, I'm a public speaker, content strategist, but...
And that seems though what we do is more respected than
and it shouldn't be.
And it shouldn't be, because at the end of the day, no one's getting rich off of this shit, guys. Let's just be honest.
If exactly plumbing, I'll still be as confident about it and as well spoken about it.
Because... at the end of the day, food, shelter, healthcare. That's it. So that's one of the things.
That's where we are in terms of just draws to a close, and we're gonna start 2023. I'm happy putting on those clear.
So that's just one of the things that I look at and I'm like, yes, they lied to us.
We're bamboozled.
And nothing's wrong with education. If you're going, like I I love education. It's cool. We went to college. We came out, got jobs. I went back to UNISA, studied again. Like, I will forever.
And we're still learning also. I mean,
I'm still learning.
Look, doing this is also learning.
Yeah.
I'm still we are learning in public now.
What I would say, and we're not saying don't go to college or tertiary and get a formal education or a degree or whatever, but get a proper degree. You know what I mean? Like, if you look at all the things that we do now and that we went to college for, you can learn all these things on YouTube.
There's somebody explaining in detail what you learned.
Everything that we learned at Boston Media House from 2010 that we were taught, 2010 to 2013.
Sure.
You can go on YouTube right now and get all that information. All the books we read during that time, you can find all this information somewhere.
So, yeah.
Go to tertiary.
Sure.
But get a proper degree. You know what I mean? Like, go
something that you can't get off the street.
Something that you can't learn online. You can't learn how to be a doctor online. Not everyone's going to qualify to be a doctor, I know.
Lawyering.
But there are a lot of things. There's so many careers. Like, we're not at that age where it's just but doctor, nurse, what, and then
the workplace has opened
careers
up
for these people, careers for those people. No.
The
internet I hope you didn't lose your train of thought.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
An amazing storyteller. You kept that in mind. So the poetic thing is the world has opened up. The internet alone has democratized information. And so when I said when you said to me, start a blog, you know what I did? I went on to I searched onto Google website hosting platforms. WordPress came through. Or you also even like mentioned the WordPress. With the WordPress, it's customizable, it's easy to learn. And I jumped onto it. Jumped onto YouTube, started learning, people telling me, yo, you can do this, some plugins, this is what you do. I had a thembajay.wordpress.com, and then eventually I bought a domain.
Yeah.
But the point that I wanted to make, I learned how to host a website by myself. After you told me, I went and learned and I killed it. Now there's nothing I don't know about WordPress, inside out. Site, we manage everything, you know. And so it's to reiterate the point that you made, Wuti. There's a lot of things that you can learn by yourself. The things that we learned at Boston Media House are things that you can learn by yourself online.
Now,
this is it.
Back then, maybe
you couldn't.
Not. We didn't have also access to information is important.
Yeah, sure.
Back then, maybe not so much. But now, knowing what we know, and with the digital age and where everything is now.
Sure, boy.
What has been on your mind this past weekend?
What's been on my mind, pretty much like not even the weekend, the whole week is as the outie.
Sure.
How you turn out eventually to be like your dad. Whether or not you know him. Or whether or not he raised you.
Yes.
Young tall. And the crux of it is ungazondi time. And that's the epiphany that I had for myself. Because my relationship with my dad, rest his soul, relationship yakhona being perfect, time really strict. It could have been easy for me to hate him and have a grudge of sorts. Hey, time really strict, time this abusive and all of these things, but it just doesn't matter. Ukuthi ngifila kanjani, because in the long run you turn out to be him. So imagine if I have a grudge held against the time, and then years later I turn out to be like him. I'll have identity problems. I'll hate myself somewhat.
Yeah, I think every guy grows up saying Uchi they don't want to be like their dad.
This is it.
Almost every guy says, I'll never be like my dad. I'm not like him. And you're acting so for a great part of your life, you're acting out of character pretty much because you don't want to be like your dad.
This thing you want to prove to yourself,
Yeah,
and I
this
suppose
thing-
to
exactly.
him and your mom would
Yes,
I'll do better than him.
But then you're not being yourself because you are your father.
You're fighting. Ish.
My dad used to tell me all the time that I am a younger, more handsome, like a younger, more handsome version of him. Like, yeah.
And it didn't click at the time.
Yeah, no, it didn't. But, and you end up saying, I don't want to be like my dad because of his mistakes, because he didn't show up. Maybe, he showed up 8 out of 10 times and you're judging him for the 2 times he wasn't there. But hey, man, in hindsight, they pretty much do the best that they can, really. And now, because you're older, you know what relationships are like. You know what it's like to be in a relationship with a woman. You know what it's like to be, in that relationship, still be a son. And then, you still want to be part of your family. There's all these things, expectations from your mom, your woman, your family, your friends. You know what I mean? Like,
it's quite a bit to juggle.
Yeah, you still, then you understand that, oh man, maybe what was he going through? What was his life like?
You start getting a glimpse with your own experiences.
Yes, the older you get. But when you're young, you're thinking, I should be your priority. Like, you don't know these things.
There?
But the older you get, you understand. And unfortunately, sometimes I think by the time you understand, it's either too late or that relationship is irreparable, right? It's too late in the sense that, like your father's late.
Yeah, sure.
Like in my case and in your case. Or, you've said some things you shouldn't have said and you can't go back. So
and
we can't fix it now.
And that's the thing, man. Guti, it's difficult for and part of the reason for this conversation and us putting it out is that somebody younger than us, should listen to this, see it, and think twice. Man,
and you need to you need to build a relationship with your dad, not for him but for yourself. It will help you navigate your emotions and your identity. Right? As a dude, like when you get to a certain age, you want to know who you are. Why do you think the way you think? What your talents are? All of those answers lie in you spending some time with your dad. All of them. You don't even have to ask him sometimes. Just observe. Just look at the guy. Watch what he does. Be in his space. That's it. You're done. You pick up everything. So the answers to those questions, you just need to go and either talk to him or be around him. But most dads will just naturally talk to you. Will talk to you about things, or they'll just say things, and you know what I mean. They'll make sense, and then you'll get some answers that you need.
Speaking of sense and getting the answers that you need, in my case, Dad used to say, there's this line that's just stuck in my head. Like, because he would say things and you could see what certain things didn't land. Like, you're still a kid.
Oh, but like you should. Here's the thing, right?
Say.
You should like they never stopped speaking or telling you things.
Yeah, sure.
And those things make more sense now that they're gone than when they were saying those things like while they were still alive.
And yeah, sure.
Shit makes more sense when your parent is no longer here. When your dad is no longer here, everything he said to you it feels like you're hearing it for the first time. And the weird thing is things happen and then, it's almost as if he's there saying, I told you so. I told you this would happen. I told you, because it's unfolding just as he said it would.
I feel like wherever I walk, whatever I do, when I walk into a meeting to deal with people for my writing and public speaking business, whether I'm working with you, he's just in my ear saying, guiding me somewhat. So the things just keep on replaying because life crystallizes whatever that he said.
True.
You're going through some of the things. You are in the thick of it. Because before you were, I suppose, on the sidelines, as it were. And so when he said, it's like you don't get it until you get in and you feel the pressures come to bear. And it makes
great
so
analogy.
much sense. This is
analogy.
it, yeah?
Yeah, great
and
analogy.
then you start playing and you're like, okay, cool. It makes sense, right? And so as you play the game, he's in your ear somewhat. Yeah. So manje, you are walking as two. So that's the thing for me, Uguti. As soon as I released all the tension in my body and in my heart and wishing that he had done this better, I became better self, and I became a better man, became softer even to the women around me. Young tall, more so to younger women like in my life. For instance, my niece. I can be soft and talk to her and access my emotions. Young tall.
Which is something your dad never did with you.
Bro, he couldn't do
or
it.
your siblings. Yeah.
He couldn't do it. But now I've got the chance to say, okay, cool. What he couldn't do, because partly of how he grew up, I am going to try and be able to access my emotions. And it makes sense. There's this lyric, I forget the song, Common, talking about it was important for him to go to therapy for the well-being of his family. Young Ton. So that
even rhymes, actually, as you say.
This is it, right?
Yeah.
It's so bloody important to heal. And another saying that I came across, I forget where I read it. Heal so that you don't bleed on the people who didn't cut you. When I read that, it stuck with me.
Yeah.
It stuck with me because if you don't heal, you just become an emergency case for everybody else, and people need to stitch you up. So that's the thing for me, that you need to heal, whether the dad is around or not. Make peace. If they're around, make amends, and I think
and
make an agency and see them.
Yes, if you still have a chance,
Sure.
You should definitely reach out. It's a different story, obviously, when you don't know who he is and you're trying to find him and then he denies being your dad. That's a different story.
Sure.
But that's not the story that's not the story with most people. The story with most people is, I know who my dad is, that relationship didn't work out with my mom. So, and again, women play an important role in how you view your dad, like your mom, right? If your mom says, because if your mom only chooses to tell you about the bad parts of the relationship, I mean, that relationship can't be all bad. You're living proof that at some point that relationship was good.
Yeah, sure.
It was really good.
I mean, there's certain
It was a fruitful relationship at some point. It was good, and I feel like mothers need to highlight that. Okay, he's got his mistakes, but this is what was good about the relationship. The reason why you end up saying, I don't want to be like my dad,
I'm going to do
because
better.
all you know is just, the bad side. That's all you know. You know the bad side either from being told or you experienced it yourself. So somebody needs to pull you in and say, yo, no, this is what's good, or this is what was good about him. This is how the relationship went. This is how it crumbled. My mom gives it to me in doses, right? Based on where I am in my life. So
sure.
My teen years, nothing, no stories. Couldn't ask a damn thing. Couldn't get a damn thing either. Then In my, I leave home to go to Boston. I'm gonna go live in Joburg. Things are different. This is before I met you.
Sure.
Now we start talking now. Conversations start flowing. This is the relationship. Around this time, that's when we started dating. He was going off to university. I was still in high school. This. Then you start hearing the stories. Cool, that's one part. Then you start working, you're seeing somebody, and then mom is afraid that you might change. You're starting to see a bit of money, get some attention. Then she tells you, you know what I mean? She gives you more information. In doses, remember, it's coming in doses. Then you know what I mean? Mid 20s, late 20s, 30s now, and you know what I mean? As things happen in your life, she then tells you the stories. So I wish it's okay. Like, we get that you're hurt. This relationship didn't give you what you thought it would give you. You didn't get what you thought you would get out of it. That's fine. But you have an obligation to the child to be honest. To be 100%. Yes,
balance the perspective.
You need to be honest. You need to say, yes, he messed up. This is what he did, but
this is also the good that the man was capable of.
Because the good and the bad exists in you, and you need to find it. You need to make sure you amplify the good, and then try and manage,
cross the T's within yourself.
Exactly.
I actually like that.
Yeah. You're right. That's exactly what you should do.
Yeah, sure. For me, mom, piggybacking on the fact that women play a pivotal role in how you view your dad. Mom is a bloody warrior. She's amazing because everything that she went through in her relationship with dad, she forgave all of that, and she said it, and you could hear in her voice there's no hatred that she's harboring in her heart. And so as a kid, it would be your own hard-headedness, like you would be pushing that for your own ego and own insecurities. But mom pretty much said, look, ngixolele out because nazi izinto eziright azenzile kanje nakanje. Another glaring proof is that you exist, your siblings exist. Look at how beautiful y'all are. Until he could create this. So first things first is you guys exist, and you're strong, and you're intelligent, and you're talented. That's proof enough for he could create awesomeness. So for me, I think it was very easy at the back of mom being able to just have that forgiving spirit, and then being able to talk about stories. And then just giving stories. So you have a balanced perspective. So irrespective of what you saw, irrespective of what people tell you, hey, this, you also have a balanced perspective. So if you decide to focus on the bad, that's on you. That's your choice.
That's on you.
This is
100%, yeah.
Equally, if you choose to look at the positive and you double down on it, again, kudos to you.
Yeah.
So for me, I took the latter, and that's part of the reason why we're having this conversation. And I'm proud of myself, Uti Joe. At this age that I am, I can access my emotions. That's the biggest thing for me, Joe.
You know exactly how you feel and why you feel the way you feel.
And you can express it.
Express it verbally.
You can express it.
I like that. Yeah, because for a long time, you would feel things and you wouldn't know where they come from. Like, I'm just in a mood today. I'm upset, or I'm happy. Well, not even happy, because if you're in a bad space, you're in a really bad space. Happiness is not something that's remotely close.
Yeah, sure.
It's not. You can't even think of it. You don't hear jokes. You don't see
life
Like
becomes
your
dull.
sense of humor is just switched off. You know
I
what I
can
mean?
relate to that.
And
Like, deeply so.
but if you get to a place where you can access your emotions, you know why you feel the way you feel,
Identify, Chief,
and
sure.
you can even express it verbally and say, I feel this. I'm sad because somebody said this to me yesterday.
And it triggered
exactly,
this,
and
this.
it triggered this,
Sure.
and it has stayed with me. This is what I need to do to fix it. You know what I mean? That's really good. Going back to
Yeah.
what you said about umama and ukola, right?
Sure.
My mom said to me, and on more than one occasion, my mom said to me, "Your dad left me, not you."
Ah,
Whether or not, like my relation, like I'm gonna be fine. My life will be okay with or without your dad.
don't be angry on my
But
behalf.
unfortunately, you need him for your life to be okay. You know, fortunately or unfortunately, you need him for your life to be okay. My life is going to be okay. I'm going to be fine with or without your dad. But you need him for your life to be okay. So then you kind of go, oh, hey, nalo yang jige.
Unobu defensive nyana in your
Yeah, I
heart.
would say young, now young, like she was never about that. Like, you know what I mean? She was never like that. And the older I got, with giving me stories just in batches and say this is what happened, and so she would always just talk about the good times and this relationship was fine. Your dad loved you when you were when you were like a year old. This is what your dad did when you were 2 years old. This is what happened, and this and this. She's telling you stories that are evidence of the love that he had for you.
He manifested it.
Exactly. Even though his current actions might not necessarily, say that he loves you, but this is what he used to do. This is what he's doing now. That's the bad. This is the good. And from time to time, you would pick up on it because you're trying to find it. You're looking for it because you know it's there. Like, oh, this is what he did, and you're looking for it. You get to ask him, and he answers sometimes. You know what I mean? You know how they are.
Sure.
He answers
How much it
sometimes.
away too?
He's like, you know what I mean? He'll say, yeah, your mom was right. Yes, this has happened, and this is what happened. Sometimes,
Sure.
You know what I mean? But hey, man, you got whatever you got out of it.
Sure.
And I think growing up the way that you did,
Sure.
like you wouldn't change it for anything.
So
because
yeah, sure.
you are like emotionally, even though it was shaky in the beginning, but you appreciate where you are now.
Sure.
Where you can articulate your feelings and you can speak about things, and you're not afraid to be just open and vulnerable, whether to your friends, your family,
Your woman.
Sure. You know what I mean? It's a good place. Like I'm in a really good place.
When you say you can articulate, actually not even articulate, right? Vulnerability. For me, being vulnerable took a bit of time, but then that's relative. I mean, like what's a long time and what's not. So the challenge was, you want to be strong.
Yeah.
I had this urge to be strong all the time, but also that creates deeper problems, more problems for you.
Strong in what sense? What's strong?
Strong in a sense that you don't become vulnerable. As an antithesis of
Okay.
So for me, it's like jumping onto the fact of, as soon as you said vulnerable, I was like, man, I can be vulnerable now.
Yeah.
So much so, like, I can be, to sum it up, I can be a lover easily and show love. Whereas before, showing love to me was difficult. So you become stoic. And you bury things.
Okay.
Ngithola sokuba again it's that accessing emotions on a deeper level. So much so that when you are hurt, you cry it out, you write it out, you go run, but you deal with emotions so much. You have a healthy relationship with your emotions. When hurt happens, you let it out. You don't bottle it.
No.
And then it explodes at some point.
Yeah.
And then we are all left with less than
Bleeding on people that didn't cut you.
Young Tal.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm able to be vulnerable, and I appreciate that. And there's something that you said a couple of years back. You're watching I think it was a podcast of sorts. I'm not sure if it's he was being interviewed, and you mentioned to me that he has this amazing ability to be Natili Autilena on this movie. Ngizokutshela. I forget his name, man. Ungamla. Superheroes, like Transformers.
Yes.
Like Leotile, that like ngathi professor nyana of sorts.
Yeah.
Like he sort of, I forget his name.
Yeah.
But you mentioned Uguti. He was being interviewed, and the fact that he could share so deeply about his emotions.
Yes.
Yeah. So, for me, I'm like a couple of years later, I'm at that level, and I couldn't be prouder. Because
And when you're watching somebody like that,
Sure.
yes, hey,
like ukwazi ukukhuluma kanjani ngama feelings wakhe.
you have to.
Ngoba you can't.
Yeah.
Yangithola. When I
It
think
takes
about
time.
them,
It takes time. It takes a long time. You realize that it has to happen.
Sure.
And then you just sit with knowing that, okay, it has to happen. Or realizing that, I am exactly like my dad. And then you sit with that for like 2-3 years. And then, only then do you go, okay, let me start asking questions. Let me find out. You know, that's if you don't have the privilege that we had to be, you know, to ask him directly. Then you start asking people. But you then go, okay, I'm more like him. What was good? What was bad? What can I take? What can I change? What do I need to manage? This is not going away. I know my temper's not going away. I know that for sure. but I have to manage it.
Short fuse.
No, short fuse. Look, the fact that... Look, man, I haven't like smashed things against the wall in a while. Sure. You know what I mean? No outbursts. Like, okay, I'm doing great.
It's safe, sharp.
No, safe.
Like, mic is safe.
I'm doing great.
Sure.
I'm doing so great.
That's amazing, Joe.
So, you know, I know that's not going away. I have to manage it. I know it's not going away.
Yeah, sure. It's a part of you.
Yeah, it's a part of me. So it's not going away. I need to manage it. I need to find ways. I know now that I need to calm down.
Sure.
Don't speak now. Relax. Think about it. Speak later. You saw what happened earlier when I got that phone call and got frustrated, but you know,
you're able to breathe.
I hung up
and come and like,
relaxed.
Sure.
And I called this person back because I would have said some hurtful things
in the moment.
Exactly, in the moment.
And you fray the relationship forever.
So I relaxed. Then I called them back once I was calm. See, I'm managing it. Everyone's safe. Everybody's safe. I'm managing it.
In equipment yet you say fast bong, eh?
You know what I mean? It's not going away.
Sure.
But I also know Dad was
equally short fuse.
As much as he had a short fuse, he was equally brilliant at public speaking, at writing.
You took those parts.
You understand? He was great. Like, he could pick up languages. He could speak to people. You know what I mean? Like, I used to like that about him. He could talk to people. He would walk into a room. Like my dad had presence, bro. He would walk into a room and you would know he's there. He's there. You know what I mean? Like I used to love that about him. So, those are the great things. And you try and identify those things in yourself.
And
some
amplify,
are there, some aren't there, or some are there but not as great as you have maybe 50% of it and he had 90% of it. And that's okay. That's still fine.
There's something to work on.
That's fine. You don't even have to try and get it to 90%. That's fine.
Yeah.
It's
You're
fine
your own man at the end of the day.
If he had 10, if he excelled at 10 things and you excel at 4 of the 10 and you're kind of okay in like 6 of his talents, that's fine. You know what I mean?
Sure.
That's fine. You pick up, they lived in a different time. If you think about, I always say, if my dad had the same opportunities that I had, went to the schools that I went to, same opportunities, he lived in the digital age he would.
Ingwenya ngabe ne apartment in New York somewhere.
You see?
Yeah, sure. Brilliant.
But hey, man, he grew up in apartheid South Africa. He was young in the late 80s. He was still I don't think he was he must have been a teenager in the 80s and then like early 20s, maybe in the early 90s and. But if he had the same opportunities, things would be different. You know what I mean? Yeah, you look at you look at everything, and you look at the opportunities around you, the writing work, especially in our industry. Like Seven Delan was looking for script writers, and my dad was brilliant at Afrikaans. Do you understand?
You could have easily fitted in perfectly.
Afrikaans for over 20 years.
Let me tell you something.
And so, do you understand? So he was great.
No matter the same thing.
He could have, he could have written those scripts, edited them. He was great with writing, language, speaking. It was his thing.
Sure.
If he was 31 in 2022, the things he'd be able to do were just
like a machine, right?
A machine.
Man, like you don't take only the bad.
No.
You also take the good.
No.
But the most important thing to even unearth the good is self-bloody awareness.
Yes.
Self-bloody awareness. And a lot of people won't teach you that. Even Koskela,
of course, they won't. Yeah.
Anyway, right? There isn't a lot of people that'll hone your self-awareness. And so in most cases, it's on you to be self-aware. Hey, man, I've got a short temper and this is how I'm going to work around it. And then eventually things work out. But self-awareness is something that I suppose the world is sleeping on, for a lack of a better word, because for a long time I walked around feeling things, being able to do things. For instance, I'll get on stage and never have to deliver a presentation. You deliver the presentation with Tugil. If you've got cue cards on your hands, like all right, but then you get a standing ovation. Ulogu Tugil. And then you say even more, you to take they see beyond your insecurities because you don't have self-awareness. Now, when I get on stage and I talk and people give a standing ovation, I take it gracefully. In as much as someone would say, you are an amazing writer, instead of saying, I take it with grace. Thank you. I appreciate that. And people appreciate when they give you a compliment, you take it.
You take it, yeah.
This is it. It also speaks to you having dealt with your insecurities. Because before, getting attention, compliments or whatever, you try to parry them away. Like, don't look at me.
Yeah, because you think
feel awkward.
People see this thing that you're... So you think people see these insecurities.
This is it.
And they don't see them.
Yeah. And so when they see you, you're thinking, I'm busted.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a fraud. It's only a matter of time before somebody sees
But
it.
they don't see them.
They see greatness.
Yeah, they see greatness.
So self-awareness for me is
Everything.
It's everything, man. And this weekend has been really a blessing, and I'm glad we're ending the weekend on that note, and you're sort of cementing those thoughts. Ukuthi be self-aware so much that you see how you act and realize why you're acting that way.
Yeah.
Or how you're feeling and why you're feeling that way.
Yeah.
And so that you can articulate yourself better.
Sure.
For me, that's the thing, Joe. Like, again, to use your words, I'm in a good place.
Yeah.
I'm in a good place. So much a better man than I was at 5 years ago. And I can't wait for the rest of like everything that'll come through. Whether emotionally, whether I am dealing with conflict, whether I'm dealing with celebrations, whether like I now want to deal with everything with the same calm demeanor. Because before, short fuse, same thing here. But I think in my case, if I'm honest with you, the short fuse was again a case of insecurities. So makuba nengxabano, I paid in 3 seconds, so 0 to 100. Seyisukile. But masothi ayibheka lento yabona ukuthi mara overreactile lapha yana ngoba unombezi uzokutshela moseyiwana.
Yeah, and you can't go back and say and apologize.
This is it. And that's another thing I've gotten good at. Ukuthi when I mess up something, I don't care how long it takes.
Yeah.
I'll send an email to say, "Yo,
But-
we didn't tell me."
Yeah, but you don't apologize
Sure.
just to make things okay or to keep the relationship going, but you genuinely apologize and you understand what your mistake was. And I think we often apologize without, you show remorse in your actions by correcting your actions.
Not just saying so.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but then your actions need to be in line with the apology.
They support the soul.
You can't say sorry for the same mistake 2-3 times.
Sure.
No. It's no longer an apology at that point.
And speaking of, it's just hot air.
Yeah.
Young Tal. Speaking of apology, the best apologies I feel are the ones where you are able to articulate why you acted the way you acted, because it means you've sat down and reflected and thought quite deeply. Good time, and actually I got triggered because of this, that, and the next thing. So if you say sorry and then somebody says for what, and then you don't know, it's questionable.
Yeah.
I question myself also when I do that.
Is it genuine? Were you really apologizing?
Young Tal,
Do you even know? But
because it sounds manipulative. I also call myself, I call myself out on that. Nah, don't give people half-assed apologies. Sit, think about it, ruminate on it. Ukuthi, why did I, react the way I reacted, or
why does this person feel that I owe them an apology?
Sure, Young Tal. So that's that's been really like rattling in my mind. Ukuthi, if you hate your dad, by extension, I suppose your mom, forgive, and by forgiving, you realize that, like, that's the thing. There's this analogy. Ukuthi, forgiveness is such a powerful thing. You realize when you forgive somebody that you are letting a prisoner go. But here's the crazy thing. The realization is the prisoner has been you the entire time.
Okay, I get it.
Young Tal.
Yeah.
So, because like when you forgive somebody, it's easy to, have this righteous place with I forgive you. But you are letting yourself go from prison, not the other way around.
Yeah.
So that's the thing for me, Uguti. I love my dad with all his mistakes. That's something that I've written on my journal. It's something that I say to myself out loud. Mangplomile, with yo, Dad, I love you with everything, bruh. With all of your mistakes, because I can't love you in slices. I can't.
Yeah.
You need to take the entire loaf.
Yeah.
That was Simon Madlo. So that's the thing. You can't love people in slices, and that's the biggest thing. What you need to, accept people for their good, for their good, and I suppose their dark side, as it were. So that's my thing.
And with that, we would like to sum up the first episode of Crossing the T's with Themba Jay and Thembinkosi Sekgapane. Thank you for watching.
Danko.